Welcome to Notebook, a program of interest to the St. Lucie County community that features information about St. Lucie County schools. Guests include school district and community leaders with focus on children in our community.
Hello and welcome to our newest edition of Notebook. And this is a show where we connect you, our viewers, with community officials, district personnel, and other organizations from around the Treasure Coast. And we have a great show for you for these next 30 minutes. And I'm Jane Whitaker, and I'm going to serve as your host. And we are very excited to share our two guests with us today and some really exciting opportunities that and accomplishments that one of our students here in St. Lucie County has accomplished here in the recent months. And we are glad to have you, Sebastian. This is Sebastian Suarez.
Hi.
And we're going to have you tell us a little bit about yourself here in just a minute.
Sure thing.
And then we also, next to him, is no stranger to our show, is Mr. Sanabria, who is with us and principal of Lincoln Park Academy. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Again. And one of the things that I always like to do, and we talked about this before the show started, is just to find out a little bit about you and viewers to find out, kind of your educational path or your professional path. And it's always good to just make those personal connections with our guests. So, Mr. Sanabria, can we start with you?
Of course.
And if you would share just a little bit about your professional path, your professional journey, and how you came to where you are today.
Okay, well, as most of you know, I am prior military. I served in the United States Air Force on active duty for over 21 years. And when I retired, I moved down from New Jersey to Florida, the great state of Florida, and became an educator. My last 5.5 years in the military, I spent as an instructor, combat skills instructor, anti-terrorism instructor, and that's where my passion for education came to be. It developed in my last 5.5 years in the military, and I said, well, I know what I want to do when I retire from this profession. I want to be an educator, and so I came to St. Lucie County. I became an English teacher at Lincoln Park Academy. I served as a teacher there for almost 5 years, and from there I transitioned to the IB coordinator position. I served in the IB coordinator position for 2 years, and then I became an assistant principal at Lincoln Park Academy for another 2 years. After that, I went to Treasure Coast High School, where I broadened my horizons.
Yeah.
And definitely learned a lot more about not just being an administrator, but just being a leader overall. And then I was given the opportunity and blessed with the honor of being the principal of Lincoln Park Academy, where I currently serve and have been serving for the last 3 years.
That's quite a history with Lincoln Park, which is really awesome.
Absolutely.
And gives Sebastian a little bit of background on your principal, which is kind of nice. Yeah. So, Sebastian, let's find out a little bit about you. What year are you in school?
Well, currently I'm in senior year of high school.
All right. And at what school?
Lincoln Park Academy.
And then tell us a little bit about, you were talking just before we started the show about being a part of the IB program and what it's done for you. And tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, of course. So the IB program is honestly a truly exceptional program. They have an amazing faculty. The curriculum is a lot more intensive than the normal tracks, but it really does prepare you for college. Within the IB program, we're technically allowed to explore a lot more contemporary and global events. It allows us to broaden our worldview, and at the same time, it also allows us to integrate ourselves into the greater society, serve the community, and overall make ourselves well-rounded students.
Very good. And what would you say right now, if you had to pick your favorite class? What would be your favorite class this year?
My favorite class right now is my history class, contemporary history. We get to learn about the causes and effects of history rather than just in a streamlined manner. We really get to explore the decisions that people made, their consequences, and it allows us to see where people went wrong, where they went right, and how that really does impact us even today.
And really getting into that deeper, rigorous program has really put you into a position where you've been a part of this amazing opportunity that we're going to talk about here in just a minute with a Congressional Award. So we're going to come back to you here in just a second. But Henry, as he was talking about the IB program and you as the IB coordinator, we know that that is one of the strongest academic areas that we have throughout the district, and that when we think IB, oftentimes most of the community thinks Lincoln Park. So because that was really the first school that I believe that started the IB program, is that correct?
Absolutely, it's first.
Okay, and so share with us some of the things that really make Lincoln Park unique and really has allowed it to stand out in the community consistently, throughout the years, and it still remains one of our A high schools. And under your leadership, it continues to be. And but tell us some of the things that you feel really make it special.
Well, the A is a team effort,
right?
Okay, and as I'm sure you being part of a team,
yeah.
It's not just one person or two people that make it happen. It's the whole. And so we have great students who are supported by great parents. Obviously, the parents want their students to go to Lincoln Park Academy. If not, they wouldn't have put them on this long waiting
Yes.
list, right?
Uh-huh.
But then we also have a dedicated staff, both instructional and non-instructional, and then of course our leaders, myself along with my team. And we have high standards, and everyone from the bottom on up knows what those standards are, and there are no exceptions, high expectations. And so what really sets us apart, because every school in St. Lucie Public Schools, all schools are great schools.
Right.
They're all great schools, but everyone has their niche. We all have our niche. Ours happens to be that we're an IB World School. We have both the middle years program, which prepares our students. Students come in 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, all the way through 10th grade. They're all IB students because they're part of the middle years program. And then you have the select group of students through our attractor program that decide they want to do the diploma program from 9th grade through 12th grade. Though the 9th grade and 10th grade is basically the preparation years, the program, the diploma program, starts in 11th and 12th. And so our focus at Lincoln Park Academy, I think what our real niche is that we work very, very hard in preparing our students for that post-secondary education. We know that a vast majority of our students are going to go off to college. What are we doing to prepare them? And so that's what we do. And then, again, through parent support, our students who are very, very highly dedicated and motivated, and we're going to hear that story here in a few.
From here, right.
Okay, and then of course our staff, which will go above and beyond. Through all of that, that's what makes Lincoln Park Academy special and different.
Love it. Love it. Thanks for sharing that. And talk about a student who is motivated and that level of excellence that Lincoln Park continues to influence on their students. We're excited to hear about this Congressional Award. And first of all, let's talk about what is the Congressional Award, because one of the things, as I was sharing with some people that we were going to be talking about this today, had no idea what it was, and it's been in existence since 1979. And I had a chance to kind of take a look at it on the website, find out a little bit more about it. But to get your perspective of what did the Congressional Award, participating in it, what did it mean to you?
Well, the Congressional Award is, as it says on the website, it's a non-competitive award which is offered by Congress, and it entails serving not only the community but yourself and proving yourself to be a well-rounded individual. So the Congressional Award isn't a competition. It's not something that you have to be better than the next person. It's something that every single student is able to earn just by serving their community and themselves. For example, for the Congressional Award, you have to have voluntary public service, personal development, physical fitness, and you also have to conduct an expedition or an exploration in order to learn more about the cultures of the world and see something that you haven't seen before. So the Congressional Award, it really does give you the opportunity to explore yourself and also to serve the community at the same time.
There you go. And when did you decide that you wanted to take on this challenge? When did you begin?
Well, all the way starting from 9th grade, I was talking to my mom, and my mom was like, "Have you ever seen this award?" I'm like, "No, I haven't." She says, take a look at it, and I was interested, so I said, sure, I'll give it a shot. I looked at all of it, and I said, it looks doable.
Yeah.
Nothing too rigorous, complex. So from 9th grade, I started to dedicate myself towards it.
And there are hours and hours that go behind this actual award. And we talked about, before the show started, there's actually 6 levels. So talk to us just how that kind of takes place. And I know you mentioned that you can either go straight for the gold, or you can do it in chunks and kind of divide up your hours and such. So share with us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So there are 6 levels, and they're divided into the certificate category and the medal category. The certificate category involves serving a smaller amount of hours, and if I remember correctly, there's a smaller time frame which you have to accomplish them in. It's a smaller minimum time frame.
Right.
Once you accomplish the certificate levels, you can move on to the level where they hand out the medals. The level where they hand out the medals entails a higher commitment to the Congressional Award, and once you earn your medals, if you're taking it step by step, you can pick them up at an award ceremony with your local official. And once you get to the gold medal and you're awarded it, you will be able to go to Washington, D.C. for the award ceremony.
And we're going to talk about that here in just a minute, too. So let's talk a little bit about each section, because you mentioned that there were 4 areas that you had to decide what your challenges were going to be. What did you work toward for your personal goal?
So for my personal development, I'm deeply involved within the band program in my school. So I thought, what better way to develop myself personally than practice through band and not just learn to work by myself, but also with a team. So I was able to gather group members in my band, and we were able to work towards solo and ensemble, music performance assessments, after-school practices, and also individual practice. So I can learn and I can improve on something which I really do enjoy doing.
Love it. And what instrument do you play?
I play the trumpet.
Very good. And I used to be a music teacher, so anytime we hear those music experiences, that's awesome. Let's talk about personal fitness.
So for personal fitness, I just took the opportunity to improve my health. I realized that, I was a little overweight. I'm not ashamed to say it. So I took the opportunity to start jogging and exercising. And there's a friend of our family who's a personal trainer. And I asked him, hey, would you like to, keep me on track, advise me to help me validate my hours? And he said, absolutely. So it was at least 3 times a week. We would go out, we would go jogging, we would go to the gym, and I would just overall improve my physical health through cardio.
Very good. That's awesome. And let's see, I'm trying to think of the next one. So let's talk about expedition and exploration. That one, when I first looked at it, I thought, boy, that's going to be a little challenging for some people. And does that mean that you have to travel on the other side of the world, or let's say hike Mount Everest? It doesn't have to be something so elaborate. It could be maybe a trip within the United States that you could go. Tell us what you did.
So for the expedition/exploration category, it looks like it's a little complicated and difficult at first. But when you take a look at it, it doesn't specify where you have to go or what you have to do. And they also offer through, I believe it's 4-H Club, Boy Scouts of America, they have multiple affiliate organizations where their expeditions count for you. All you have to do is go somewhere where you haven't gone before. Go camping, go to a national park, go to a state park, go to a different city, and integrate yourself within there, and overall just accomplish an objective that you've set yourself out to do. For me, I planned a trip to New York City. It was a 5-day trip, and I explored the multiple boroughs that were offered and allowed myself to research all their cultures, see how it differed within each borough. So I was able to integrate myself into those cultures and learn more about them in a hands-on manner.
Wow, and to bring that experience back to your peers and back to your classroom, what was your biggest aha, would you say, on your trip?
My biggest aha moment was probably during 4th of July when I realized, public transits are closed down. So it really did require a lot of quick thinking on your feet and allowed me to explore my problem-solving abilities in the real world.
Very good. And then let's see, what's our other one? Voluntary public service. And then how did you go about doing your hours for voluntary public service?
So voluntary public service, I accomplished it using an organization which I do hold really dear to my heart. It's called Students Working Against Tobacco. I've been a member of them for 5 years at this point. I've also worked at their statewide level for the past 3 years. Basically what we do is we advocate, empower, and we teach youth against big tobacco companies and their advertising policies. So it's not anti-smoker, it's more anti-industry. And through them, I was able to develop leadership skills, serve the community. We were able to we did Keep Port St. Lucie Beautiful in order to encourage cleaning up the environment, picking up cigarette butts. We adopted a street in order to make sure everything's clean. And overall, we just get around in the community and we help out doing anti-tobacco related things and also community service related activities. We're an organization of youth which work to help youth and hopefully create the next tobacco-free generation.
There you go. That's amazing. And just as viewers are listening to you speak, and what a future you have ahead of you, and what an example of amazing students that we have here in St. Lucie County, and just so proud of what you've accomplished. And I want to go into just a little bit. I know you've got your. Let's go ahead and share those.
Sure.
Because this is really a cool thing. And so tell us about these.
So these are the medals that were mailed in to me by the Congressional Award Committee. This one would be the bronze medal.
Okay.
So if you want to look at that.
There's the bronze.
Yep.
Everybody see that?
And
cool.
This one right here is the silver medal.
This is like being at the Olympics. This is awesome.
So when I got these mailed, there was a letter that came alongside saying, congratulations, you've been awarded the Congressional Award Gold, Silver, and Bronze medals alongside with Gold, Silver, Bronze certificates. The Gold medal will be awarded in Washington, D.C. in early June. They're going to send a schedule about that later, but they sent these to come alongside in the mail. So these medals were earned through just participating in the Congressional Award. It wasn't a certain feat, an extra accomplishment that you had to do. It's just by serving the minimum hours shown within the book.
Right. And on the website itself, it's very explanatory, each of the stages, which, it makes it very easy for someone, being inspired by watching you today. If they were interested in doing this, it's so step by step on there with the information and the hours and how to go about it. I know there's an accountability piece to it where you had to keep a record book. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And then you also you're required to have an advisor be part of that. Talk us through that a little bit.
So for the records with the hours, what you had to do was whenever you volunteered, it would be on a month-by-month basis. So if you just keep a record of the hours, which I believe most students usually do, so they can turn them in towards the schools, you'll be able to just write that down into the record book. And you'll have the validator, which is the head of that organization, or a person who is directly associated with it. They'll be able to sign off on those hours to confirm that you've done them. Alongside that, you need an advisor. The advisor is the person who you go to for advice. They'll keep you on track. They'll tell you how many more hours you need, how you should accomplish that, if your goals are acceptable.
Right.
And overall, they'll just be able to guide you along the way. The advisor doesn't necessarily have to be an official or or a teacher from your school, a counselor. For example, mine, it was a teacher that I've known since a very young age when I was in Broward County. I was able to get in contact with them because they know my work ethic. We've been able to keep in contact. They know who I am as a person, so they'll be able to advise me in a more effective manner.
Right. That's awesome. And, I'm sitting here thinking all of these hours that you have completed, and these could also go toward your scholarships, let's say for Bright Futures, utilizing those same hours for volunteer hours for scholarships in that respect. So it kind of plays a dual role.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
The hours that you earn towards Congressional Award aren't just for Congressional Award. They're also for graduation requirements, Bright Futures. All you're really doing is just writing down those hours, which you've already done, into the Congressional Award book, making sure they're valid, and then sending it off and you get awarded for that.
Right.
So it's not any extra commitment when it comes to those hours. It's things that you're already doing. You just lock it down in the book, and that's it.
I'll tell you, that would be an interesting data point to see how many community service hours students have put in by the time that they're finished with their senior year, especially, being at Lincoln Park, the students who are part of Bright Futures, doing different scholarships, Young Floridians. I mean, this is at every high school that we have here in St. Lucie County, but since we're talking about Lincoln Park today, just focusing on that. But it would be interesting to see just how many hours are done a year with the amazing students that we have in this district, and what you guys accomplish. So you get a chance to go to Washington, D.C. to actually receive your gold medal. And when will that take place? Have you been told yet?
I haven't been told.
Yeah.
All I do know is that it's going to be in early June.
Okay. And who gets to go with you?
My mother and my father.
And your principal?
And Mr. Sanabria, if he's able to go.
That would be an awesome trip, wouldn't it?
It sure would.
That would be really fun. So when you actually received the ones previous, they send those to you in the mail, but there's also an opportunity for you to receive those from the congressman from our district, I believe. Is that kind of how that works?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the way it works is on the website they have these specific dates to turn in the record books before that specific date if you want to get it awarded by your local congressman. For example, since I was doing the gold medal, when I sent it in before the gold medal deadline, so they just sent me all the medals. If I was going just for silver medal and I sent it in before the local deadline, I would be able to pick it up with the local congressman.
Okay.
So to pick it up, that part depends on the deadline.
Deadline, right.
And even if you receive it after the deadline, they'll be able to mail it in regardless.
Okay. And when did you actually get your notification that you were getting because I know you have to turn everything in, it has to be validated, and kind of go through the process. When did you actually get your notification that you were receiving your gold?
So it took me approximately a little less than a month from sending it in to receiving my confirmation.
Right. And we saw a great picture of you and Mr. Sanabria on the school website. And just for curiosity, how did you find out that he was going to be one of the recipients for this award?
Well, I received an email notification, and quite honestly,
cool.
I wasn't even aware that Sebastian was actually
Going
doing
through it,
this.
yeah.
And sometimes that's how these things come up. They surprise you,
Yeah,
but they're
yeah.
great surprises, obviously.
right.
And so immediately when I found out, I was like, okay, we got a winner here.
Yeah.
But I already knew that this young man was a winner.
Oh, yeah.
And he's been doing so much when it comes to serving the community and, even a student leader, if you will, because he stands out based on just what he does each and every day. His actions, they speak for themselves. I know he mentioned that, he is a part of the Students Working Against Tobacco, and that he is on the statewide youth advocacy board. But he failed to mention that he's the co-chair of that board. And
Very
so
good.
that just goes to show you the respect that his own peers have towards him. He was elected last year to be in that position. And so everything that he's done, that he has shared with us from his freshman year on up until now, has obviously put him in the position that we find him in right now.
Right.
And I'm sure that he's going to continue to do the same thing after he leaves our great institution, and goes off to college and does the things that I'm sure he's already planning to do. So
That's awesome. And that kind of rolls right into my next question is, you're getting ready to finish your senior year. I mean, not getting ready, you are finishing your senior year, and making plans for, after you graduate. So what are your goals? What are your plans for school? And, just tell us your next steps.
So one of my aspirations would involve applying to colleges and getting accepted into colleges. I'm looking towards going to Boston University, New York University, hopefully Columbia University, and also applying to University of Florida here in state. But one thing I do want to pursue is a degree in business, financing, or general business for my undergraduate. And then for my graduate degree, I want to have a double major to get an MBA in business and also get a JD in law.
Very good. Very good. We'll be watching for amazing things from you, and we're going to hear your name, I'm sure, a lot during the future. And another thing that I was going to ask you, too, was, all of a sudden it just left me. I'll come back to that because there was one more question that I had. But I have no doubt that we're going to hear great things from you and about you, and just wish you the best of luck in your career and your future. And I know what it was. If you had something that you could say to, if there's a student that would be watching the show right now that would be interested in doing the Congressional Award, how would you encourage them to be a part of this program?
Well, if someone's interested in doing the Congressional Award, my advice to them would be just go ahead and do it. You're not losing anything by signing up. And if you don't complete it, well, you don't have until just high school to finish it. You have until 23 years old.
Right.
It's for you. It's for you as an individual. It's not for bragging rights. It's not a competition. It's so you can show that you're a member of the community, and not only do you help others, but you help develop yourself.
Well said. Very well said. And just knowing the caliber of student that you have exemplified just sitting here, we just are proud of you, and I know your family is so proud of you and what you've accomplished, and what you've done for this community and will continue to do wherever you are is I'm privileged to sit here next to you.
Thank you.
As a student, especially, and wish you the best. And we want to let people know also that this award can start at ages 13 and a half, I believe, is when you can sign up for it. You actually can't start a piece of the process until you're 14, but it goes all the way until your 24th birthday. Is that what you said? Or 23rd?
I believe it was 23rd.
23rd. Yeah. Okay. So, we want to encourage people just to go to the website, take a look at it. You've seen an amazing example of our future here in St. Lucie County with a student like Sebastian. And thank you again for being with us today. Mr. Santabria, thanks for joining us again.
Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure to have you with us.
Pleasure to be here.
We just wish you both the best this year, and we'll continue to hear great things about Lincoln Park Academy and your students, as well as Sebastian Suarez, and best of luck to you.
Thank you. And one more thing to note.
Sure.
I know a lot of people might be thinking, oh, well, how did you get to that level of success? Or if people are doubting themselves for being able to to accomplish these things. One thing that I have to say is a lot of my success I'd like to attribute to, first, my parents at home. They've always been encouraging and motivating. Students working against tobacco. It really allowed me to get out of my shell, see that there's a passion within myself and a passion in others, which everyone can get to. And that's something I aspire to see happen, become a reality, people to pursue their passions.
Very good.
And one more thing I'd like to attribute everything to is just they are the teachers at the schools, all the faculty. Specifically at Lincoln Park Academy, all the teachers that I've talked to, they don't believe in the words, I can't. They always want to see every single student succeed, no matter how difficult it may look like. That's their goal, to see their students become the most successful people.
And not allow you to ever give up.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no such thing as I can't with the teachers.
Right.
It's always, yes, you can.
There you go. Well, I'll tell you, we are out of time, but if you are not inspired today, just thank you so much for what you've shared with us today, and just the betterment of the community and our future kids that are going to be part of this program. I hope that we've got some parents maybe that have heard this, or guardians, grandparents who have heard a little bit about what a difference this program has made in this young man's life, and just the hard work that goes behind it, but the difference that it makes. And thanks for being with us. And we thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you next time on Notebook. And if you would, check out the website on the Congressional Award, and it'll give you lots of information, and you just go to www.congressionalaward.org, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.